In ancient Chinese military strategy, there's a concept called the year the ground shifts. And if you pull up a Chinese calendar converter and type in January 2026, you can read the heavenly stem, which is Bing, and the earthly branch, which is Wu. This is the fire horse combination. This is what we're working with for the full year. Now that you understand what the energy character is, let me show you what it historically does to wealth and career structures. Think of the energy of a fire year like an earthquake moving through a building. Not every room shakes equally. Some sit on load-bearing walls, some are tucked in reinforced corners, some are stacked with heavy, unstable shelving. Knowing how your position is built determines your risk, not whether the building shakes. This is the H in shift, high exposure positions. In a fire-dominant year, the most pressure lands on anything that is overextended, highly leveraged, or built to win only in calm conditions. It's not your industry that decides this. It's how your specific position inside it is constructed. Sectors facing structural pressure in fire-dominant years historically include highly leveraged financial assets, industries dependent on cheap labor arbitrage, and roles where human judgment is being replaced by AI automation. Not because Chi Men predicted AI, but because these are fragile structures under fire pressure. Here's the misconception. People assume their industry alone determines their fate, that a safe field saves them and a risky field dooms them. In reality, two people in the same industry can have completely different years depending on how exposed, leveraged, and adaptable their position is. One person's dangerous year is another's breakthrough in the exact same field. This is why generic financial advice frustrates you. Pull up the 2026 Chi-Men annual chart, the chart for the year, and look at the palace positions. Notice where the chief, the Du-Men, falls. That's where strategic movement is supported this year. Knowing where the pressure lands is only step one. Here's where it gets interesting, because the same chart that shows pressure also shows where the energy is flowing toward. When a river floods, the water doesn't disappear, it moves. Fields that were dry suddenly get irrigation. The farmers who understood the river's natural path were already positioned on those fields. That's what wealth redistribution in a major cycle year looks like. It's not destruction to do right now. We've already passed the first two quarterly transition points of 2026. So the two that matter from here are the ones still ahead. August 7th, which is Li Chou, the start of autumn, and November 7th, which is Li Dong, the start of winter. Mark both of these in your calendar. These are your two remaining review and repositioning windows for the year. And major decisions made around these pivot points carry more energetic leverage than decisions made at random. Now let's get practical. Here's how to read your own exposure for 2026 using nothing but an honest look at your own situation. Before a storm season, you don't need a weather satellite to protect your house. You walk around it and check what's actually secure. Which beams are load-bearing? Which fence is just decorative and will be the first thing to blow over? You already have everything you need to do this for your own life. You just have to look honestly. This is the T in shift, tailored assessment. The most important question for 2026 isn't, is this a good year? It's, which of my current structures are load-bearing and which are just decorative? Load-bearing means your income sources, your key relationships, your health foundations. Decorative means status signals, obligations you've outgrown, habits that feel productive but aren't. Do this concretely. List every income source you have, then rate each one for fragility. How exposed is it to leverage, to automation, to a single client or employer, to conditions that only work when things are calm? The fire pressure of 2026 finds the most fragile structure first, so that's the one you reinforce or replace first. And finally, here's the one shift that changes how you use this information in 2026 and every year after. A weather forecast doesn't tell you whether to cancel your plans. It gives you information so you can make a smarter plan. An amateur sees rain and cancels. A professional sees rain, packs a waterproof layer, and adjusts their timing. The forecast is identical. The outcome is completely different. This is the difference between using Chi-Men as a worry system versus using it as a decision architecture. The final letter in shift is horizon thinking. Chi-Men's real value isn't in avoiding bad years. It's in extending your planning horizon so you're not making decade-level decisions with week-level thinking. 2026 is one chapter in a longer cycle, and knowing that changes how you hold it. The professionals I've watched navigate restructuring years most successfully share one trait. They made their key positioning decisions 6 to 9 months before the pressure arrived. not because they panicked early, because they planned early and executed calmly. And to be clear, Qimen Dunjia is not a replacement for due diligence, professional financial advice, or your own judgment. It's an additional layer of pattern recognition, one that's been stress tested across centuries of strategic use. Use it as a lens, not a verdict. The people who will look back at 2026 as a turning point, not a breaking point, are the ones who used the information available to them and moved with intention rather than reaction. If this gave you a framework rather than a fear spiral, that's exactly what I'm here for. Tell me in the comments, which area of your life feels most load-bearing right now, and which one are you realizing is just decorative? That single honest answer is where your 2026 repositioning starts. I read every comment, and the patterns I see there shape what I cover next. And if you want a steady, grounded take on how ancient strategy maps to modern decisions, subscribe. That's what this channel is built for.